It's been a few weeks since I've had the legend himself, the Hall of Famer, one of the NBA's greatest players ever, technically all-time top 50. I say top 15. Rick Barry, he joins us next. We're talking Warriors. We're talking NBA Finals. It's a Golden Day.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. Leave me alone this summer.
Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
Welcome to the Golden Days. It is Tuesday of the NBA Finals week. More importantly, though, Rick Barry, one of the greatest to ever do it, one of the brightest individuals I've ever met, joins us. You can follow Rick Barry on all social media platforms at Rick24Barry. Rick, great to see you as always, sir. We haven't had you on the program since I believe the Warriors season ended. How is your summer going? Great to see you.
Well, summer just actually officially started. Back to Colorado now, get out of Florida and the heat and humidity. And it's nice to be back in cooler temperatures. Hell, it was 47 degrees the first morning after we got back, which was a real change since the low has been in the 70s down in Florida. So nice to be back. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. This has been such a bizarre playoffs. God only knows what's going to happen. I mean, Indiana has probably won more games with the least amount of chance of winning of any team in the history of NBA Finals during the NBA playoffs, I should say. I mean, the odds against them in some of these games were so ridiculous that nobody would have bet on them. And here they are with opportunity to take care of business on home court. They got the home court after getting the victory number one. I was a little disappointed in their performance in game two. It's like they felt that they got home court now. Yeah, well, you got them down, jump on them, get that second game like they did in the other series when they got the first two home games. So in the other part of the playoffs, but it's been very interesting. But as you know, I have a hard time listening to some of the people who are doing the broadcasting.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I just say they are such masters of the obvious, and they don't really talk about the things that are going on that would be nice for the fans to have an idea and understanding. I haven't had one person that I've heard in all the different shows that I've listened to and the recaps of the games after game one. Nobody was talking about the fact, and I've said this for years since they had the 3-point shot, that you have to you got to make 3-point shots if you want to win and be a champion in this league. You just have to. Game number one. Oklahoma City didn't make a 3-point shot in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They had a 12-2 run, the Pacers did, in a little less than 3 minutes to get themselves back in the game. 12 points all came on 4 3-pointers. And Oklahoma City didn't get any. And then the Pacers got a few more, and that was the difference in the game. Then, of course, the Oklahoma City missed a couple of key free throws late in the game as well. So, basketball's not complicated, folks. This is not football, all right? You don't have 11 people on the field. You don't have to, worry about this guy there's only 5 guys, and generally it's 1 against 1, 2 against 2, 3 against 3. All 5 guys aren't usually involved that many times unless you're playing with the Warrior style where you'll make 4, 5, 6, 7 passes, pass, move, cut, which is the way you should play the game. Pacers do a nice job of that. More teams are starting to copy that because the Warriors have had such success. Because the NBA has always been a copycat league. They copy things that everybody does. They try. Remember the small guys, the Muggsy Bogues of the world, the Spud Webbs of the world. There isn't any way in the world that a team with a guy like that starting at point guard is going to win a championship. Okay, and so it's not like football. Things change. I mean, even football. Look at what happened when I was growing up and doing it. I never saw a running back that was as small as these guys that are playing now in the backfield of NFL games. They were, there were the Jim Browns of the world and the Jimmy Taylors of the world. And I mean, these big bruising guys doing it. Now they got these little guys who are like sneaking through the little holes. And they're great. I'm not taking anything away from them. Don't get me wrong. But it's interesting to watch the evolution of sports and how things change and who keeps up with it and who's able to think outside of the box, but not so far out of the box that it's stupid, that you're not going to have any chance at all, but to utilize the opportunities that are there. And so that's kind of fun to see how that happens. But I do think that teams a lot of times get caught up too much in the one-on-one. I think Oklahoma City got caught up in that a little bit. They relied too much on their star. SAG. He's played great, unbelievably great. But I just like the pass, the move, the cut, force the defense to make decisions. How many decisions do you have to make when the guy's going one-on-one? Not a lot.
Not a lot. You're absolutely right. I do agree with you, Rick, that speed seems to be the prevalent variable that's taken over basketball, football, for obvious reasons, right? You can't if you can't catch it, they're going to do what they want. And I'm also very curious. I want to ask you about, because you brought up the current style of basketball, and the Thunder and the Pacers. They represent that Warriors brand of read and react, of quick movement, both with the ball and without. A lot of passes, assist numbers matter. So I want to pick your brain in terms of whether or not you think that's where the NBA is going. Like, if every team's going to start doing this. Rick Carlisle, I feel like, is doing some brilliant coaching. We have a lot to discuss about the Golden State Warriors as we await some big moves and decisions. Got to give some love to our sponsors first and foremost, though. Rick, and first up is an awesome cover band that you can hire for your event, and that's Decades. Rick, they're I don't know if it's their founder, but Billy DeBono, he's the drummer of this band, and his dad was a legend in the music industry, and his dad was also a huge sports fan. And Billy has told me that his dad was a massive fan of yours, Rick, and he has some fond memories of your time with the Golden State Warriors, which, while we're doing this gives me a good opportunity to ask you, Rick, as we're promoting Decades, a band that you could hire for, again, your event, whether that event is a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday, or if you're looking for something beyond just like a party, and maybe more so on the corporate event side, whether we're talking about a fundraiser or a corporate event. Think of the Catalina wine mixer. Decades is also available for you there. Just go to decadesofficial.com. Again, decadesofficial.com to book this incredible band that's born and raised and based in Northern California. They're Niners fans. They play all the 49er pregame parties. They call those red zone rallies next door to Levi Stadium at Great America, and they're available for you. Rick, but while I have Decades on topic here, because of the fact that they play music from the 50s to today, everything from Chuck Berry to Katy Perry. Rick, this year, sadly, I feel like was a missed opportunity to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Warriors winning the 1975 championship. There's a documentary being made that we've been waiting on. I know you're not producing this thing, but you do have some information about it. Are we going to ever see this thing? Because I'm dying to watch a documentary on your title team.
I don't know. I was hoping they were going to do something with it. I can understand not necessarily wanting to take anything away from the playoffs, and especially when the Warriors were in it. But, maybe they're still going to do something. And it still would be within, 50 years later, which is 2025,
right,
from 1975. So hopefully something will happen, that I've always been trying to push and trying to hope that they would have the premiere of it, at Chase Center. And, let the fans come out there and show it there and bring the guys in and have a nice celebration for 50 years later, the first championship that the Warriors have ever had out in the West Coast. And so maybe something's going to happen. I think it's ready to go. I'm pretty sure, but I haven't heard anything yet of a definitive nature. So obviously, if I do hear it, I'll certainly let you know. And I just talked to Jeff Mullins, yesterday, and Clifford yesterday, and neither one of them had heard anything for sure. So we'll see. Charles Dudley's the guy who was behind it, who really got it going, and I'm happy that he did. I was in the process of ready to get it going, and found some really top-notch producers and directors and people who wanted to get involved, and but Hopper had already done it, and I didn't want to step on his toes.
Right.
But the thing I'm happiest about is the guy who put the I think it was up for a nomination, the documentary on Wilt Chamberlain. I met him at All-Star Weekend in February out in San Francisco, and he said, "Rick, I think you're going to love what we've done." I said, "Well, I hope so, because I hope this is the story of the team and what the team accomplished." And he said, "I think you're going to be really happy." So the fact that the guy who was up for an Emmy or whatever the hell it was that he was up for that documentary, I think it was Goliath, if I'm not mistaken, was the name of it. And so I can't wait to see it. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't wait to see it. I saw the ABA documentary that George Carl was behind. I got to see that at a special showing over at Big Bill's Pizza, an Italian restaurant up in Denver. So I got to see that as a sneak preview. but I think I'd rather see it the firsthand with my teammates and the people who were involved who are still around and the fans. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, big time. Well, and Thrive City is the area that they call the outside of Chase Center with a huge, massive, big screen.
Played a pickleball event there for.
Yes, and that's, I believe, the area you were talking about. That in addition to maybe showing the film inside the arena, you could also do it outside in Thrive City. By the way, and as we wrap up promoting Decades, hire them for your event.
Let me just say something about them. Why I love them, because I was on with one of your guys, in another show.
Yeah.
What I love about them is that they play music that you can relate to. I mean, so it's not like they're just, a rock band or they're just a country western band or whatever. They play all the hit songs from all the different decades, which is that's kind of fun because it brings back so many memories. Come on, everybody has memories of songs in different times of their life. And so it's really kind of a walk down memory lane when these guys perform.
Absolutely. And they're available for your event. Go to decadesofficial.com or email Kyle@atomicmusicgroup.com to book them, mention our program, mention anything about our program. You can mention Rick's name, my name. They'll give you a discount. Today's episode also brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform. And it gives me an opportunity, Rick, to present to you the lines for Game 3 of the NBA Finals between the Thunder and the Pacers, which you can bet using BetOnline. Folks are saying that the OKC Thunder favored by 5.5 in a road Game 3 is very high. It goes to show the public sentiment, which is that the Thunder are the superior team. That's how the majority of the public feels. Is that how you feel as well, Rick? Do you think do you think the Pacers have a shot in this series?
Obviously, they do. I mean, look what they did in the first game. I mean, look what they've done throughout the playoffs. I was a little upset, though, when I heard one of the announcers say, hey, these are the Cardiac Kids. Hey, bullshit, that's our team. Not, don't be giving the Cardiac Kids, moniker to these guys. Call them whatever you want to call them, but not the Cardiac Kids, because that's what we were.
Yes, sir.
So, stop stealing our thunder. What the hell are you guys doing? But, yeah, they definitely do. But I just talked with Clifford yesterday, and Clifford Ray, my great friend and teammate.
Yes.
And we both concurred and agreed that I think the winner of this third game will win the series.
What I've said, Rick, and I don't know if you agree, is this is a must-win for the Pacers. I'm not disagreeing with you that if the Pacers win,
I agree that it's a huge game for the Pacers without question. But I think if the Pacers win this game, they will have a chance to win. If they don't win this game, they're going to be in trouble because then obviously the next game becomes critical for them. If they get down 3-1, I mean, the odds against them there. But they've overcome the odds so many times this playoffs, and anything can happen. I don't think that one team is that superior to the other team. I mean, I really don't believe that that's the case, that, like this is a huge mismatch. No, these are two really outstanding basketball teams who are playing some really good basketball, and they've gotten to the finals. And so that's what's made it entertaining. I was disappointed in the performance by the Pacers in the second game, after getting that great win in game number 1. But I also respect and admire what Oklahoma City did. They came out and did bullshit around and went out and said, hey, we're winning this basketball game. We let the other one slip through our fingers, and we're going to take care of business here. Now, can they do that on the road? Because they got to find a way to win one of those games to be able to get the home court back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I believe Game 3 is tonight. Again, the line, the Thunder favored by 5.5. From my perspective, do or die for the Pacers. And Rick's sentiments that the winner of this game will likely win the series. Safe sentiment. The Thunder are favorites in the series to win -545. The Pacers plus 412. So now is a great time to put money on the Pacers if you feel great about them, as some people do. And you can bet on all that with BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform. The game starts here. I want to answer one quick thing here in the chat, Rick, just because I finally figured out the salary cap for the Warriors this season. I can be anyone's guru in that department. And case in point, Julian Bashir in the chat asks or writes that the Warriors can use the mid-level exception first and sign Kuminga after. And this is where I'm here to burst your bubble. I don't mean to, but the reality of the situation is the moment you use that mid-level exception, you're hard capped at the first apron, which is approximately $195 million. So if you use the mid-level exception to sign other players first, before you sign Kuminga. Let's say you use that $14 million. Now your expenditures are going to be up to $184 million as a team, and that only leaves you $11 million to sign Kuminga and any other players you want to fill out the roster. And those hard caps apply to veteran minimums as well. So in essence, if you use the mid-level exception, you're not going to get Kuminga. And you can't even do a sign and trade at that point because, again, you're hard capped. So I just wanted to answer that question. And again, I'm sorry, Julian, to burst your bubble. A paid donation early in the show here from Shardal. Thank you, sir. Just asking how we're doing. Rick, how are you doing? How's your offseason going?
Yeah, well, back in Colorado Springs to get out of the heat and humidity of Florida, so looking forward to that. I haven't had a pickleball game yet, and they all want to play with these freaking Dura 40s, which is these really hard balls up in the altitude, and they just fly. Usually when I come back and I play, I'm hitting balls out all the time because the balls flies in the light air because I'm at 6,400 feet, and so it makes a big difference. So I haven't had a chance to make that adjustment, and then getting myself acclimated to the altitude as well. So I went for a bike ride because I live on the side of a mountain. It's quite an ordeal coming back up the mountain, but it was pretty good. I felt pretty good. I'm in decent shape for an old fart, and just happy to be back home and looking forward to seeing what happens with these with the playoff games. It's always fun to watch. As I said, always expect the unexpected when it comes to the NBA, and I'm speaking from firsthand experience, having been on a team that provided the greatest upset in the history of the finals of the NBA. And it kind of ticks me off when I saw somebody writing a story about some of the great upsets in NBA finals history, and our name wasn't even mentioned. It
should be number one. It should be number one.
No, it has to be number one.
Yes.
There hasn't been a team that's as big an underdog as we were, and such a joke that the biggest. And then everybody was saying back then, this is the biggest mismatch in the history of the NBA Finals, and we sweep that team. How in the hell can anything else be above that? But yet they pick all the things. People have short memories. They really do.
Do you remember who said that, or are you going to?
Just a bunch of people say that all the time. I know somebody wrote the story, but it's a joke. Just like. Anyway, you can't control the media, as we all know. So don't even get me started about the media and what goes on, especially in politics.
Oh,
and sports is running a close second. It's a 1A, 1B entry for stupidity and insanity on the part of writers. It insults my intelligence. It really does. I mean, especially politics, more so than the basketball. But the basketball does as well because there's so much that goes on in the game, so many cool things to talk about and discuss, and they're not talked about. I mean, I just go, what the hell game are you watching? So
Rick, I made this as a drop because it's too good to not play this.
You can't handle the truth.
We now have that on anytime you want that pressed, I'm gonna press.
You can't handle the truth.
True. People ask questions all the time, and then when you tell them your truthful answer, they get pissed off at you because you don't tell them the answer that they want to hear. If you ask a question, folks, be willing to accept whatever the answer happens to be. You don't have to agree with it, but you don't have to get mad at the person because they came up with an answer that you didn't like or agree with. I mean, that's just moronic. It really is. And
Agreed. Agreed.
But anyway, this has been. I don't even. Especially when
I love when you're fired up. I love it. Bring it all day, every day.
Get me riled up all the time. People start talking about stuff, and a lot of time, and Wilt Chamberlain's name doesn't get mentioned about great centers. And I mean, come on. There isn't anybody that did what Wilt Chamberlain did. Nobody will ever do what Wilt Chamberlain did. This guy's statistics and all were off the freaking charts. Just so insane compared to what's going on today. And stop comparing the decades against one another. Just compare the decades. Who was the best team? Who was the best at their positions in that place? Give me this goat shit. Get rid of that. It doesn't apply to a team sport. You can have one is who was the best in that decade at the one, who was the best at the two, who was the best at the three, the four, the five. You can have a reasonably intelligent conversation about that, and it'd be kind of fun. But don't start bringing in other decades and starting to compare these other people here and then say that Michael's the GOAT. I mean, come on, Michael's the greatest two guard, okay, during his time for sure. So just have a reasonably intelligent discussion instead of stuff that really doesn't make any sense when you analyze it properly.
You're absolutely right, sir. And we talked about this graphic here a little bit before the show. And I wanted to showcase this because I randomly saw this the other day. This is graphic that if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it right in front of you. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll articulate as best as possible. It represents the 1962 NBA MVP race, and it goes to show just how dominating of a season this year was, Rick. This was before your time, but you did play against a lot of these individuals. And this was a year where Bill Russell won the MVP. But you look at Wilt in the same year, averaging over 50 points and 25 rebounds a game. Did not win MVP. Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double. Did not win MVP. Is that Wes Unseld who's fourth?
I don't know, but I saw that. I saw that was pretty amazing. Jerry West and Elgin Baylor was 38 points.
Oh, Elgin Baylor. That's who that is. Yeah,
that's Elgin Baylor. There's crazy statistics for all of those players during that season, and I saw that and I said, "Wow, that's impressive." However, it goes back to what I've said for years, decades. I've talked about this. What is the NBA thinking? This great marketing machine that they have been over the years and turned into. They weren't initially when I was playing. They're pretty special right now. Why in the world do you not have the most valuable player and the most outstanding player awards in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference during the course of the regular season? Right. And a lot of those guys there would have won the awards during that. You could have taken Bill Russell as the most valuable player and Wilt Chamberlain as the most outstanding player, right? And then in the West, you could conceivably, because I'm trying to think. I think Cincinnati. I don't know whether or not they were in the West or East End, but anyway, you would have had a tough choice there between Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Oscar Robertson, and depending upon where Cincinnati was then, whether you're in the East or the West. But you would have had four guys who would have received awards, deservedly so. And from the standpoint of a business standpoint, you have three more sponsors that you're going to pay money to be able to sponsor those awards. Right. Why the hell would you not do that from a business standpoint?
Going back to a Wilt, Rick, if you don't mind, Bruce Morrow brings this up, and this seems to be the primary point of critique for why Wilt is not ranked as high as some people maybe should. Sir, look, you played against them. I'm always going to defer to you for pretty much anything NBA, but especially in time periods before when I was able to witness it myself. And Bruce Morrow brings up the fact that Wilt only won 2 championships. What's your reaction to that critique?
Bullshit. That's total bullshit when they start talking about championships. You don't win championships by yourself. Okay, look at the rosters. When Wilt Chamberlain had great rosters, okay, they set records when he's at the end of his career, when he was with the Lakers, because they had Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, Gail Goodrich, they had some really great players. They set records, consecutive wins, 33 in a row or something they won during the regular season.
Correct.
And so, and Wilt was one of the top assist guys in the league. I mean, and then you go back to when they won in '67 when we played them in the finals. Okay, well, what's the deal there? Okay. They were unbelievable. Look at his teammates. Billy Cunningham, Hall of Famer, right? Hal Greer, top 50 player. You've got Luke Jackson at the center. They had Wally Jones. They had so many good players on that team. So Wilt was not blessed with look at the players that Bill Russell played with.
Right. No, he's stacked. Yeah.
I mean, come on. The team was loaded. I'm not taking anything away from Bill. I mean, he probably has the most impact of any player on a team winning multiple championships than any player in the history of the game. Let's give him that for sure, right? But to say that he was a better center than Wilt Chamberlain is crazy. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he just wasn't. Yeah. But he was invaluable when it came to winning. You know, would I want to have him? I said, yeah, if I pick a team, I'm taking Wilt as my center and I'm taking Bill Russell as my power forward. Bill doesn't have to score a point. I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't need any points from you, Bill. Just play defense. Do the rebounding, what you did, in your career, and that's all we need. I got Wilt who can get 50. I got, I've got Michael Jordan who can get 50. I mean, give me a break. I mean, that is, so anyway, anybody that discounts what Wilt did doesn't really know the game and understand the game the way they should understand the game, because there's never been anybody like him, and there never will be anybody like him again.
And I want to add this as well. I think it's very important when you're having these discussions that span eras, right? And the NBA is getting older and older, and I think that's a great thing because it shows that the league is continuing to grow. And I'm looking forward to 100-year anniversaries and so forth. But like when it comes to the older eras, and I feel like this is a very personal thing for me because you see a lot of people bringing up these GOAT debates, and more specifically Jordan versus LeBron. And I know you don't like entertaining that debate, and I get it. I'm not bringing that up here. We're not going to debate that, but my point is most of the people who will say LeBron is a better player than Jordan never watched Jordan play. They never experienced the impact of Jordan. There is something to it in terms of experiencing it in real time and actually seeing for yourself the dominance, the greatness. Sometimes stats, even a YouTube video does not capture the impact of that moment. And when it comes to Wilt, you were there. I wasn't. And so what you say, I'm going to believe, I'm going to listen to. So like, if you're going to sit here and tell me Wilt Chamberlain was this dominant force, like, for example, someone in the chat brought up the fact that JaVale McGee is the same as if Wilt was playing today, he would be JaVale McGee. And I'm guessing you're going to talk about that, right?
They're out of their freaking mind making a comment like that.
And
I'm not denigrating JaVale McGee. I mean, he's a nice player. He's an NBA player and all.
Wilt.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's insane. That's a joke.
And again, that's where so that's all I'm trying to say. So it was when you have these debates about previous eras and you weren't alive to actually experience or see it. Take the word of someone who was there for it, right?
Also take this into account. This is the major reason why you don't do what people are doing. We had nothing as far as technology and training to help us become better athletes. The sophistication in training, weightlifting. Now it's so sports specific. What sport are you playing? What position are you playing? And they have special stuff to do for that sport at that position. We had zero. I mean, I've said this so many times, I feel like a broken record. I would be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, jump higher. I'd be so much better a basketball player playing today than when I played in my day because I had nothing to help me to get to a higher level. Nothing.
Right. Absolutely right. I'm sorry. I was looking up something someone in the chat wrote. Muhammad Olavi in the chat, who also was advocating for Duop Reith earlier. Not pushing back on that. He's a good player. I highly doubt the Warriors will make a play for him, but who knows? But he also writes, and this is courtesy of a Twitter account, so take it for what it's worth. Ball Report X, certainly not and certainly not an account that I'm going to immediately just trust right off the bat. But Muhammad Olavi reporting that the Warriors are interested in bringing GP2 back. I have nothing against that. All I'm going to say in when it comes to GP2 and the Warriors is, if he does come back, it's going to be for a vet minimum. I can't see the Warriors spending a penny above that. And if GP2 is willing to come back for the veteran minimum, great. I have nothing against that. It's just he was paid, I think, $9 million last year, and I think that was a little high. Rick, what was your synopsis of the Warriors this season? It was a crazy year, a lot of roller coaster emotions, results, and otherwise very parabolic. Disappointing finish. Was it a good year for them? Can you summarize how you felt about
overall? No, it wasn't a good year because they got knocked out of the playoffs and didn't get to the finals. So if you don't get to the finals, then the season is going to be disappointing because that's the ultimate goal. But based upon what had transpired and taken place at the start, you can say it was a roller coaster ride. They started off so good, say, "Oh God, this is gonna be unbelievable." Then all of a sudden they went in the toilet, and they had all kinds of issues, and then they had injuries and all kinds of other things going on. But then, to their credit, to Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the team, they made some moves. They did some things. They brought in Jimmy Butler, who turned out to be just a great move, and actually made the team a contender. I mean, if Steph Curry doesn't get hurt and Jimmy Butler doesn't get hurt, hell, the Warriors could be playing right now because they matched up well against Oklahoma City.
Right? No, you're right.
So so it's disappointing only because of the injuries, but that's part of sports. It was really kind of sad. I was very disappointed in that regard. So overall, considering what had transpired, it was a productive season that they made chicken salad out of chicken. You know what? I mean, so, and it wasn't, what is they chicken a la king or something really good? I don't know. It was just chicken, I'm interested to see what they're going to do because they know the time is running out for Steph and Draymond, and they got to they have to make one big giant decision as to what they're going to do to try to give the team one more opportunity to win another championship. I think it's either that, or if they can't do what they think they can do to get to that point, then they may have to do some other things that are kind of drastic and to try to work out things to build for the future. But, I mean, you're certainly not going to get rid of Steph. I mean, people would be up in arms if he did that at this stage of his career. That would be insane. But Kuminga, there's interest in Kuminga. So now they're saying they're going to keep him. Well, are you going to keep him and do the same bullshit that happened to him this year? I mean, if you're going to keep him, then goddamn let him play.
Well, and Steve Kerr said as such, and I do feel like there was, he was trying to save face in the few weeks since the season ended, doing a lot of interviews, trying to justify some of the decisions he made. But he did say, among many things, that if Kuminga does come back, that he can find a role for him that's going to be more full-time, if you will. Now, which obviously,
I don't, I've always been a supporter of Steve, and he's done a remarkable job. Like, just look at his record, what he's accomplished, the way that the brand of basketball they were playing. But I did question some of the things he was doing there. I mean, but to make the statement about a player that he just doesn't fit in with Jimmy in that lineup, I mean, shit, that's what your job is. You got to make it work. I mean, this is a talent.
Exactly.
The kid's a talent. Now, whether he's going to become a superstar and anything else, I mean, but he's the talent, and he has improved. His 3-point shooting has improved. That's what I talked about last year. He needs to be a better 3-point shooter, and he made himself a better 3-point shooter. Get some rebounds, play some defense. But what I love about him is he plays with great athleticism, great energy, attacks the basket. I mean, and he's not a selfish player, and he can distribute the ball. I saw that. We talked about that when we were doing stuff years ago in his rookie year. When I saw him in the summer league, I said, oh, wow, I hadn't seen him before. And I said, oh, wow, he sees the floor and he gets the ball to the right people. And so he has a pretty good basketball IQ, I think. And to his credit, he didn't just go into a cocoon and feel sorry for himself after what was going on. And when given the opportunity, he went out and he produced. And I think he really helped himself tremendously by the way that he performed, late in the season when Steph went out, in the playoffs. So credit to him for that.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, all likelihood is that Kuminga is going to come back. Anyone who watches this show consistently knows I've been echoing your sentiments and then some. It made no sense in terms of the fit thing, and but what are you going to do? I want to play this clip from Steve Kerr, and I'd love to get your thoughts, because Kerr was asked about the offensive strategy of the team and the fact that Stephen Curry is essentially the son of this offense. Let's play this clip first, and then I'll ask the question that, if you don't mind answering, I'd love to hear your thoughts regards this topic, because I think it's fascinating how one player can dictate, just so much focus in one system. So here was Steve Kerr talking about that, and then we'll break it down right after.
What I know, we have Steph Curry on our team, who is one of the greatest players of all time. He's also maybe the most unique superstar of all time. What makes him special is his on and off ball prowess. And so the best way to maximize Steph is to put him in pick and roll and then to have him fly off screens. And I think that's been proven, over the last decade, how powerful that can be. And he's our son. This is a solar system. He's our son, and you're not going to duplicate Steph anytime soon. And so any talk of do we need to change our offensive system, to me is kind of laughable. Like, what does that mean? So let's not run Steph off screens. Let's not put Steph in pick and roll. I'm not even sure how to respond to that, honestly. It's like, what we've done has been incredibly powerful. Steph is, again, one of the all-time greatest players, playing at the peak of his power still, I think, or very close to it. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, and anything else would be a disservice to our team.
Rick, your thoughts, sir, on Kerr's
comments? I agree 100% what he's saying. But he's ridiculous. I mean, he's one of the greatest players ever. The guy is great all around when he comes, like you said, on the ball, off the ball. He's one of the great players moving without the ball. The thing, I like the fact, put him in a pick and roll play, yeah, but let your people understand how to run the pick and roll play as effectively as it should be, because no team in the league runs it as effectively as it should be. I just am appalled by watching teams the way they run two-man games. The two-man game is the most difficult play in the game to defend if you know what you're doing.
Right.
Because there's the counter to everything the defense does. And if you recognize it and you read it, you can get all kinds of opportunities. So if their two-man game became even more effective, because with Steph doing it, him with the ball is great, but it's also him off the ball, because you can run a two-man game with two guys that know what they're doing. You got the threat of the guy coming off who's using his teammate to make him a screener. The guy doesn't set a screen. He's a stationary object, and it's my job to run my man into him, making him a screener. That's what screening is about. Okay, folks, you don't set screens. You're a stationary object. It's your teammate's job to run his man into you, making you a screener. So let's get that straight first, which nobody ever does. So if you learn how to do that properly, so you have the guy coming off, if they don't play the defense right, he's going to get a jumper. Or the guy's going to do the properly. Now he becomes a screener. He seals this guy. You got the pick and roll. You also can do the pick and fade depending on how the defense plays you. And if a guy's really screw up, you can come off the screen and get a drive and get into the middle. And then if the weak side comes to help, you've got all the weak side action going on. For Steph, if he's not the guy running it, and say you could use Kuminga, and Kuminga's running it, well, Kuminga can run that play, and he can come off, running it with the big guy. And Steph's the guy coming off, two guys staggered, runs his guy off there. He's coming off the screen. So now I'm the guy with the ball. I come off. I can have the jumper. I got the drive. I got my guy rolling. I got my guy fading. I got action on the weak side with Steph coming off the screens. If they screw that up, I can hit him. Then you can have Jimmy Butler involved setting the first screen, and then he can slash to the basket because he's tough inside. You have so many freaking options if you're running the play properly. And teams don't run it as effectively as they should, which drives me absolutely crazy.
That's the other drop I need to get. I don't have that yet. That will be a drop in addition to the classic.
You can't handle the truth.
Sorry.
And that's the truth right there. Teams don't run the pick and roll play as effectively and as efficiently as it should be run.
Well, Rick, and this is my follow-up, and I think there's a reason why that question was asked of Steve Kerr. And here's my first question to you, sir, in terms of making sense of this. There's no doubt, I think, in anyone's mind, anyone who has any sense of reason, who understands basketball, there's no doubt in people's minds when it comes to Stephen Curry and his greatness. But Rick, I'm very curious to know what your thoughts are on this. Can Steph still be that guy as a person who's turning 38 next year?
Yeah, well, what has LeBron James done at 40?
That's really the only player you can evoke, right? As a comp.
Steph takes care of himself as well. He
Okay.
has, other than his ankle shit, he's been pretty well, injury free. Other than this crazy thing that happened to him here, who knows? I mean, maybe he will break down. I don't know, but he was still playing at an exceptionally high level. I mean,
but my point is, even if he's still at the peak of his powers, he's not playing 48 minutes. So and his minutes are going to probably have to diminish. Sorry, go ahead.
He's usually playing 36 minutes, even during the runs when they were playing great. So, I mean, I don't think that's an issue at all. It's just a matter of whether or not he can stay healthy and how much the other guys produce and how they execute their offense in a more efficient manner to create more opportunities, not just for Steph, but also for the other players. With how many times? When's the last time you saw a two-man game where a guy actually slipped to the basket, read the defense, and slipped? Shit, it's like it's non-existent.
Not as often as it should. I agree with you.
I wish that I could do a game sometime. I tried to do it with Bill Walton, God rest his soul, was a dear friend, and have Bill and I do the game like the Manning brothers do a football game. Man, that would be so much freaking fun. Screw the play-by-play stuff. Let's just watch the game and talk about the game, what we're watching, what you're seeing, and just talk about it. Not doing proverbial play-by-play, color analyst work. Talk about the game with two guys who know the freaking game.
There are actually platforms now that allow individuals to do that. I don't know how they negotiated the rights to be able to broadcast the games that individuals can talk over. If you want to do that, I'm setting that up this upcoming season. All right. I'm not saying all 82 games, but let's pick certain games and cover it. And I'll just shut up. I'll just sit you up.
But who am I going to work with? That's the biggest
Me.
problem.
It'll be us. Me and you.
Oh,
yeah. Us. But I will be quiet for the most part.
Yeah, but here's the thing. No, that would be fun to do that, and it's nice and everything, but it needs to be two players who have played the game, talking about the game from the standpoint of players talking about the game, because you would be like a play-by-play guy. You would fit into that category. You're not an analyst. You're not there.
I would be asking questions.
I'm not taking anything away from you. I think you have
I know. I get it. I get your vision. So with your visions, with that said, Tim Hardaway is going to join the show very soon. And I'll bring that. Do you want me to bring that up with him? Because I would love to watch you two talk Warriors for I don't know if that's an ideal partner, but
I haven't listened to Tim and see how he approaches the game and what he said about it. But obviously, I have great respect for what he did. I mean, he was a unique guy in the way that he played the game and what he could do with the basketball and create opportunities for himself. And then playing on the team that he played on, they were fun to watch. Obviously, run TMC. But yeah, that would be just so much fun to do because get away from all the typical kind of bullshit that you have to do, play by play, doing it. That's why I love doing when I did get to do play by play. Tony Verna, who was the guy that started Instant Replay years ago, is a great producer a director who died, unfortunately. And Bob Stenner was the producer when I worked with them at CBS. And Tony said, Rick, you have the chance to do something unique because you're a former player. You were really, he was very complimentary to me. You did great at your analyst work. He said, but you can cross that line. You see, you can do analytic stuff as a play-by-play guy because of your experience and you know what you're talking about. And it actually worked quite well when I was doing stuff with Bill Russell because I did a lot of that. Especially, I was actually doing a lot of the replays. Bill got a chance to see it. Then Bill was able to comment because I think I was really good at replays, talking about what happened because I see the game on a broad scale. And that worked really well. And so it was really fun. So that's why Bill Walton and I talked about it. He tried to talk to ESPN, but he couldn't get them to think about doing anything like that. But I love what the Mannings do. I don't like the fact when they bring other guests on and start talking about the other bullshit they're talking about. Let's just focus on the game.
Well, if you ever would consider me to do it with you, I'll say when. Say when. I'll set that up. And if I can help you out, find a second player. Let me know for that too.
Because the thing about it is that would be the same thing as just being me as an analyst talking with somebody who's really like the play-by-play guy, and that's not what I want to do. I hear you. I'd want to do it with another because. Then I can get his perspective. I used to joke with Bill because Bill used to say so much, a lot of shit and stuff. And I said, Bill, I tell you, if we ever get to do that, I said, I'm not going to let you get away with some of the bullshit that you talk about.
Well, I always remember like ESPN used to have your son John Barry as an analyst, and sometimes I think John and Bill would be teamed up. I do remember some games where that happened, and then sometimes Tom Tolbert would be paired up with Bill Russell, and I would laugh at those pairs.
Bill Walton, you mean Bill Walton? You meant
Bill Walton. Yeah, what did I say? Russell. Sorry. With Bill Walton. And Walton would eviscerate Tolbert. I feel like Tolbert couldn't even talk by the end of these games because every time Tolbert would open his mouth, Walton would go, Tom, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. It was pure comedy. Rest in peace, Mr. Walton. That was some funny
stuff. I would have done that to Bill. And I already told him, I said, if we do that, Bill, I'm gonna not let you get away with something. We had a great relationship. We used to go on bike rides and stuff, and I just that was such a shocker, Anyway.
Yeah, that was good.
So.
Anyway,
let's see. So what do you think? Let me ask you a question. So what do you think is going to happen with Kuminga?
He's going to stay. That's my prediction because, and it's mostly a math problem. Like I'm not opposed to hypothetically trading him. I mentioned, for example, Jaylen Brown being an ideal target if Giannis Antetokounmpo is a dream that's not going to become a reality. Aim for a player like Jaylen Brown if you can do it. But the way that the CBA is set up and the way the numbers are crunched with the Warriors, given how much money they're paying already to Steph, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. There isn't a lot of flexibility there.
Brown is like just picking another one and the same problem he had. How is he going to work with Jimmy Butler? I mean, that's just another guy in the same position. I mean, then you go.
I feel like that's a coaching. Again? I feel like that's a coaching problem, and Steve has to figure that out. Like,
that's what I'm saying. But the thing is, you're bringing people, you're making it difficult because of the fact that they really need some other help. They need some size.
Big time. Well, and going back to that clip, I thought when Kerr brought up the pick and roll. I don't see the pick and roll in the Warriors offense that often. I feel like if you actually saw, like you said,
it's hard to run the pick and roll effectively when you're playing your tallest guy is 6'8".
Good. There you go. That's well said. And Stephen Curry cannot play the heavy minutes like he used to. We saw that in the Rocket series. He played 47 minutes in that game 7. In the very next game, he pops a hamstring, and that's that. I think that's why the question was posed. It's like Stephen Curry cannot play the heavy minutes he used to. If he does, you run this risk, right, of injuries like hamstrings popping. And so what does the offense look like in the other, 16, 18 minutes a game when he's off the court? What does the offense look like in a scenario where he gets injured like we saw in the postseason? Like, where is the adjustment? I think that's why the question was asked of Kerr. I don't know. Any final thoughts there? Do you want to move on?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, if Kuminga can continue, I said, I don't think he improved as much as he needed to improve, but he did improve. I mean, so I'm not, trying to diss him. But he's got to get even better. I mean, if he's going to come back, he's got to be working his butt off this offseason and come back to play at a very high level. And that would be the big difference, because then he'll give him another guy that can get you 20 points every night.
Armando Laura in the chat.
The ideal thing on a team is you'd like to have ideally at least 3 guys that can get you 20 or more every night on a consistent basis.
And I do think Kuminga can be that guy. It's we shall see.
Yeah, of course he could. I mean, he's putting up 20 points playing, not playing, 36 minutes. I mean, anyway, that's not my problem. It's not my problem. I'm just interested to see, going to be interested to see who they bring back, who they bring in. This is where R.C. Buford was really great with San Antonio and with Jerry West and the Lakers when they had their long runs of consistency playing well. Now San Antonio couldn't figure it out 2 years in a row, but every other year they seemed to get it done well. And but R.C., because he had a good working relationship with Pop. And so
all the whispers, Rick, I don't know if this I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but the whispers around the NBA are the birds are chirping and they're saying KD is going to likely go to the Spurs. That's a team. Your thoughts?
Well, wherever he goes, he's going to make them a better basketball team. There's no question about that. If he goes to the Spurs, that makes the Spurs a contender. I think.
Big time. You already have De'Aaron Fox. You already have a Castle. I mean, obviously the Spurs are going to have to give up some assets to get Durant, but that's a scary team, Rick. And you're right. If that emerges, if the Spurs get Kevin Durant, you have to get some more size if you're the Golden State Warriors. And again, you asked me what I predict. My prediction is they re-sign Kuminga. My guess is they're negotiating right now a reasonable dollar amount for next year so that the Warriors are not hamstrung. And then maybe he gets bigger amounts in later years in the contract. That's what those guys are discussing. That's my guess. And then the Warriors will have close to $6 million to mess around with for free agents, not including veteran minimum. So that's where they're at. And we'll see what happens this offseason. And maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe they do have a sign and trade in play that, we don't know about. I have no clue. But Rick, before we go, do you mind answering some questions from audience members?
No, that's no problem.
And again, you have a lot of fans here. Shardal wants to know who are some of your favorite players, Rick, when you played growing up?
Oh, well, Elgin Baylor is my boyhood hero. That's who I try to emulate with his body control and the things that he did. I used to go in the gym and practice all that crazy kind of stuff. So when I drove up and I bring the ball way out here to my side and throw it up and make shots. And I mean, I practiced that stuff. It wasn't like it was just luck. But Elgin was my guy. When it came to that, I had great admiration for Oscar Robertson, obviously a triple-double guy doing what he was, an amazing player who probably doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. You want to talk about an underrated superstar, you got to throw Oscar Robertson in the equation there. I mean, he was a pretty amazing player.
Hell yeah.
And Bill Russell for what he did. Jerry West, obviously. Jerry West was the greatest two guard until Michael came along. And but those were the guys that that I had great respect for. I mean, I got to play against Lenny Wilkins, who was a guy. Lenny always wants to go left. Well, he always found a way to still go left.
even when even when defensively, you knew that's what he was going to do.
You knew he wants to go left, and then he'd find a way to get you
Doesn't
the
matter.
wrong way, wind up going left again. And Lenny was a hell of a player, and I had great respect for John Havlicek, God rest his soul as well, and the way that he played and the role that he was willing to accept, sixth man, and then he first became a starter and had great admiration and respect for him. Got to know Sam Jones. I love Sam Jones. I got to know Sam as a person afterwards, and that's a shame we've lost him. Dave Cowens, I got to know. Dave's a great guy. I love Dave. Dave was a fun guy to watch. One of the first small, real mobile, smaller centers, changing from the big guys to a smaller center who could move and do other things. Cowens was a guy that did that, so he had innovation. Earl the Pearl Monroe, for flashiness and stuff. Earl was pretty special. Clyde Frazier. I played against so many great guys in my career. It's just amazing. And, Bob McAdoo, great scorer and shooter, mid-range guy. And I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves either. Although he did beat me out for MVP that year, which I didn't think should have happened, but that's okay. Bob and I are friendly. Good guy. But yeah, there's so many guys. Nate Thurmond, of course, my teammate, God, one of the greatest people ever, a dear friend, and we've lost him as well. And
his barbecue was good. His barbecue was the real thing. Side note.
yeah,
Sorry.
but his defense was the real thing too. I mean,
There you
Nate
go.
was harder than anybody I played against because
Ooh.
most players will play with their hands up at the shoulders or something like that. Nate kept his hands down. He had really long arms. And so it was hard to figure when you go up and you want to throw a floater up over the top of the big guy. It was hard to judge how high I had to get the damn ball because I had to try to get lucky, I guess, and figure out and maybe try to throw it a little bit higher than maybe I needed to because his arms would come up there all of a sudden. He wasn't like the greatest leaper in the world, but he can jump and he just had these incredibly long arms. But I think if you ask Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, any of the centers and all, that's the name that probably will come up as much or more than anybody else as far as one of the great defensive centers in the history of the league would be Nate Thurmond.
Legend, no doubt about it. And which is crazy that they traded Nate to get one of your best friends on the planet, Clifford Ray, and result is a championship. So that's just how it goes. Someone in the chat, here it is. Surge24 mentioned in regards to your idea earlier about providing analysis during live action. How about Jim Barnett as a colleague? Are you and Jim close?
Oh yeah, Jim, Crazy Horse. I love Jim. That was his nickname, Crazy Horse. There's some amazing stories about Jim. I mean, oh my God, he would have got arrested if he was doing stuff in these days. He actually stowed away and snuck onto a plane from Boston to San Francisco. Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles?
Without security. Tell me, some of the stuff that Jim, he's great. I love Jim.
I'm going to try to get him on the show now.
You need to get Jim.
All right, I'm ready. Yeah, I got his number. I got to do that.
When you do get him on, ask him about the story because after we traded him, he went and we're going to play them. We were in the locker room before the game. So given our pregame stuff we're talking about, I said, Al, hold it. I said, look I know that Jim is in the locker room telling the coach and them that he can guard me. So I know he's going to come out to guard me. So let's run a bunch of stuff. Give me the ball a bunch of times early in the game, and I'm going to get him in foul trouble. And so that's exactly what I did. And Jim laughs all the time. He says, yeah, that's exactly what I did. And I did. I got him in foul trouble right away and had to take him out of the game. But and then the classic of all, I was on the bench at the time, and Al got mad because I actually fell off my chair laughing. So it was the opposite end of the Oakland Coliseum Arena, so the south end. And you know how Jim is emotional and doing stuff. And so something happens and the ball goes off and he walks off the court under the basket, walks into the stands a little bit, and then turns and comes to walk back on. And so an official called the foul. I forget who the official was, but the official was holding the ball in one hand as Jim's coming back to the court because the guy was going to go to the free throw line. Jim walked past them without breaking stride, snatched the ball out of his hand, and from the top of the key on the far side of that arena, kicked it into the far northeastern corner of the Coliseum. It's one of the great kicks of all time, and just kept walking right to the locker room because they knew he was getting thrown out of the game. That was freaking. I fell off the bench laughing.
I wonder, I don't know.
That was so classic, so Jim Barnett. It was unbelievable.
There's a movie called Blue Chips. I don't know if you ever saw that, where Nick Nolte plays a coach, and Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway are players who also act in the film. And that's an infamous scene. Nick Nolte's playing like a Bobby Knight type character, college basketball coach with a temper, and he boots a ball just like that. And I wonder if that was if that's what inspired it, was Jim Barnett. That's fascinating. That's funny though.
But Barnett, anyway, that was hysterical.
Sounds hysterical. I'm going to see if there's video of that. Bruce Morrow in the chat, Rick, if you don't mind answering this, is asking, what should Kuminga work on to improve? And side note, Kuminga's posting a shitload of videos right now of his workouts. So he is putting work in the gym. That's the good news. Go ahead, sir.
You broke up a bunch, so I didn't know. The guy's asking about what does he need to do?
Correct. Or what would you advise
if you were
Kuminga's, if you were counseling him?
Well, I mean, just keep working on his three-point shooting. Become better than a 35% three-post shooter, which would be great. If he can get up in the high 30s and get to 40, it'd be unbelievable. Keep attacking the basket. I wish he'd taken me up on it. I offered it to him years ago, but to how to face up his man and beat his man, and how to use the 2-man game properly, and because he's effective, he can come off with the jump shot, he can attack the basket, and of course he can jump over people. To perfect a 2-man game, which could help him, and it'd be great and run Steph on weak side action, so you can be part of what Steve was talking about, how the Warriors offense could be more effective. Just make sure that he's committed to, playing good, tough defense, but becoming a great team defensive player, because it's not individual defense that wins championships. I keep talking about the guy, well, you got a great defender. Hey, I don't give a shit if you're a great defender. Are you a team defender? Because I don't care how good you are, I'm going to beat you. Okay? It doesn't matter how good you are. So I may not beat you as much as I beat somebody else if you're a great defender, but I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
Are you in position to help team-wise? Because that's what wins defense, the championships, team defense,
Yes,
not
sir.
individual defense. That's a bonus.
Team
If you get a
defense.
guy that's a great team defender, and he also is a really outstanding individual defender, that's awesome. But if I had one or the other, and I asked Jack Ramsey, the guy, God rest his soul, great coach and stuff in the NBA.
And broadcaster.
And when I had him on my show, when I was doing radio stuff, I said, Jack,
Right.
I'm giving you 12 guys. I'll give you 12 great individual defenders, 12 great team defenders. Which 12 do you want? He says, I want the team defenders.
Makes sense. Stephen Williams in the chat, by the way, bringing up your good friend, Dr. J, Julius Irving, who also apparently, according to Stephen, said the same thing about wanting to emulate Elgin Baylor. So Baylor was that guy, like the Jordan-esque
I don't know what's
type
happening,
player
but you're breaking up really badly now. I just can't.
Oh,
even
I'm sorry.
understand.
Our connection on this side seems good. I'm sorry if the connection on your side is shaky. But can you read? Can you see that? Can you see the comment?
What's that?
Can you read the comment down there?
JK plays. Who's that? Who's he saying? Oh, Kuminga gets played with bad defenders. That's why his team defense is bad.
No.
That's not true. Because team defense has nothing to do with whether your teammates are bad defenders. It's whether you're doing the right things.
Oh, no. Can you hear me right now, Rick? That wasn't the one that was highlighting. Someone in the chat brought up that Julius Irving, your good friend.
I'm sorry, Cyrus. I can't understand you.
Oh, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, it's just breaks up badly now for some reason. I don't know why. I've got all my bars up on my signal here.
Oh, me too.
On Wi-Fi. I'm on Wi-Fi. But so whoever the person said that's not true. The team may not be good defending when he's in with bad other defenders, but he still, sometimes you got to be in the right position to help out. Your team defense is not predicated on effective anything. Your team defense is even more vital when you have bad defenders on the court with you who aren't good team defenders. You're going to have to do a lot more.
Yeah.
Because if they're not good individual defenders, they're going to get beat more often, which means that your team defense, you got to be able to shut it down. Now, here's the thing. When I played, before the three-point shot came on long ago, the whole premise was make the team beat you from the perimeter. Don't let them get to the basket. Well, now it's gotten to the point where teams make a mistake. I say, especially, in a game when you got a lead, don't ever give them three-point shots. Don't leave your man to go and help a guy who's going to drive to the basket. Stay on that guy. Make the guy make the freaking basket, drive into the basket. You're only giving up 2 points. You go and you charge in and you throw it out and they knock a three-pointer down. That's much better for the other team's morale and gets the fans going, especially if you're on the road. It's the same thing with Oklahoma City. They gave up all those three-point shots. If they had a nice big lead, don't give up three-point shots. If there is somebody and they're running a two-man game and the guy's trying to become a screener or the guy's in the way, switch. Get out on him. Don't give them three-point shots without being challenged. And then even when you're hitting and you're staying back because you don't want them to beat you, bullshit. Get up on them. Take the shot away. Make them beat you. Make them go to the damn basket. Don't leave outside people who are good three-point shooters to go and help to stop the drive to the basket. If they're going to get two, they get two. Don't give them that three-point shot.
And Rick, I don't know if you can understand me or hear me right now. Are we back? Do you hear me?
Breaking up.
Can you leave and come back?
Can I leave and come back? Yeah, I can do that. I'll cut off and try to come back.
Perfect. So Rick will come right back because I want to finish up on a good note with the Hall of Famer. But I'm glad he brought up the Warriors defense because that was a massive issue for them this season, even with Jimmy Butler. And that's also a part of Draymond Green's game, sadly, unfortunately, where I do think you're starting to see some chinks in the armor of a player who was once easily the best defensive player in the NBA. Let's see if we got Rick back.
No,
Can you hear me now?
Good.
We got a good connection?
It's much better. Now you're frozen.
Well, if you can hear me, that's all I care about.
Now I hear you. I hear you
Yes.
loud and clear.
The comment I was trying to highlight that before the connection got lost, someone brought up your good friend, Dr. J. Julius Erving, and how he similarly grew up wanting to emulate Elgin Baylor as well. So Elgin was just a very influential player, clearly, in your childhood, or at least your younger days, right?
Yeah, well, Doc must have been really young when he was watching him too, because he's a lot younger than I am. But yeah, he picked a good one to emulate. And
that's fascinating.
And Doc, Doc had the incredible athleticism, could jump, and and he had those huge hands. He has. See, my hand comes up to Doc at about. See, here's Doc's hand. My hand comes up to about right there on him. See, right here. He has like a whole new digit that I didn't have, and so that really is an advantage when you're going to be able to generate the ball and stuff. He has huge hands.
Yeah.
A great guy, a good friend, and that's just throw that into the equation. There's another guy I got to play against, and I played against Bird and Magic when they were rookies.
Incredible. Did you know then that there was something special?
Yeah, with Bird, yeah, of course. And Magic, yeah. I mean, shit, all you had to do is just watch him play. It's pretty simple to recognize great talent, but for me, the thing is to recognize they have a natural feel for the game. That's the differentiator, I think, between a good player and a great player. Great players have natural feel for the game because it's one you can't teach that. I can teach you to pass. I can teach you to shoot better. I can teach you a lot of things. I can't teach you to see and recognize.
It's a bummer. We sometimes have people in the chat that just say really nasty things. Not right. I'm going to ban that person for life. You can come into this show and say things in the chat while maintaining professionalism and decorum, and still levy a heavy critique.
You don't have to. They don't have to agree. They don't have to agree with what I'm saying. That's okay. You don't have to agree, but you don't. If you want to be mean and you don't.
Yeah, don't be mean. Just don't be mean. That's ridiculous.
Disagree with me and say whatever the hell you want to say, but don't start getting personal about stuff.
Exactly.
That's why I used to hate in the fans when people get personal and bring up family stuff, and I used to hate that. I mean,
exactly, it's crazy.
Thrown
it's
out
just
of any arena. It's one thing. Crazy. Hey, you bum. That's part of sports. Hey, you bum. You stink. Blah blah blah. Okay, I can deal with that. But don't start bringing up my family and doing stuff like that. That's bullshit. Somebody's doing that. They should be evicted from the arena and banned.
Speaking of players and fan engagement, did you see that clip of Demarcus Cousins yesterday in Puerto Rico?
Just broke up again on me. So
oh shoot! Okay, let's just wrap it up.
Call it a day because whatever's happening here,
it's all good. We'll wrap it up. Demarcus Cousins. I don't know if you can hear me, but the audience, it seems like can. I want to end on this note because this video is wild. And Rick, you can see the visual of this to understand what I'm talking about. Demarcus Cousins, who I thought was done playing professional basketball, apparently is not done, as evident by the fact that he is playing in a league in Puerto Rico. And I want to play this clip as soon as my website, maybe the issue is on my end because my computer is going really slow here. But I want to play this clip. Here it is. Of Demarcus Cousins losing his mind. And I don't know if you saw this, Rick. I don't know if you can hear me right now, but I'm going to play this clip. And Boogie Cousins, just side note, he's now playing in Puerto Rico. He plays for a team called the Guanabo Mets of the Baloncesto Superior Nacional, the BSN. That is the Puerto Rican Professional Basketball League. And Demarcus Cousins is playing in this league and did not have a good experience with the fans. So why don't you, if you're watching this on YouTube, enjoy. If you're watching this on the podcast, I apologize. There's no way to replicate this. Here is Demarcus Cousins not having a good experience. Here it is.
Man, my
resemble
screen
more
was
of a.
so small. What happened?
Oh,
I couldn't see what happened. I know he
what
got
happened?
into. They were
Demarcus
finding.
Cousins basically had. I think I don't know if you how much of that you saw, but he had drinks thrown on him. He was getting into it with the fans. It was just madness. It was mayhem. It resembled a WWE event more than anything else. Rick, give your sponsors love. I know
Now I'm hearing you perfectly clear. So yeah,
it's all right. We're an hour in. We covered all the good stuff. We covered all the hits. Who's you've got some great companies you work with. Promote away, sir.
Well, first I'll go with Go Sleeves, GoSleeves.com. Unbelievable compression sleeves for the calves, the knees, the elbows, what have you. Kinesio tape built into them. They're absolutely an awesome project. I'm actually in the process of trying. I wish I had made the kind of money these guys make, because I would be putting money in this company, but I don't have that money to do it. And I'm trying to raise some money for them because they have some new products and things coming out. So you can go to GoSleeves.com. RB24 is a code to get a discount. You go to Medicilleaf, MEDICILEAF, cannabinoid products, no THC in them. Also, awesome products there. Their Platinum Pro salve is off the freaking charts. Same thing, MEDICILEAF.com. And RB24 is the code to use. And those would be the two that I give you right now. And, other things are coming on board. And, man, I got something else.
LOMD's out? No more LOMD?
No, I don't know what's happening with Allo, but they had a great product, too. If it's still there and still available, ALOEMD.com, and put the code RB24 in there. And their product is the Ultra Repair X. It's an amazing product, too. So try that out, see if that works.
Right.
And then for Titan pickleball paddles, go there. Ooh. And it's RBTP24, and the great paddles. I've switched over to play with them now. I won 2 gold medals at the U.S. Open in mixed doubles and men's doubles, and love their product. So you can check that out as well and get a discount with there. So those are the things that I'm doing. I got something now. I'm hoping to get to Steph and Shaq and everything. I got something that is going to blow everybody away. It's in the AI world, and it's pretty special. These guys are going to love it. Boy, I wish I was playing today and on social media. I would be doing this in a heartbeat. It'd be a chance for you to get a chance to talk to me. We would have an interpersonal relationship, but it's called a synth human. It would be me. It would actually be me. It would be me talking to, answering questions, having an interplay. It's unbelievable, the technology. It's so off the charts, and it's
so,
great.
Rick, it's like that Charles Barkley commercial where he has the Charles Barkley AI. But it would be for you. It would be Steph.
Well, it would be the person that's there. But it's so far beyond just that. I mean, it's interpersonal. I mean, it's really immersing yourself with that person. And like we did one thing that they made up, and I actually was asking Albert Einstein questions about things, and Albert Einstein was answering in his voice, answering the questions that I had. It was unbelievable. And this is something that I'm working on, and I'm going to try to bring that to, I hope that Steph could do so much with this and do so much to interact with his fans and have such an impact on so many kids doing it and just have a great experience. I'm still blown away that I was having this freaking asking questions and Albert Einstein is answering them for me. And now you get back and forth and they'll talk and I can say introduce. And so Steph could be there and say, "Hey, Steph, I'm Cyrus." And Steph would talk to you. "Oh, hey, Cyrus, how you doing? What's on your mind?" And then your questions. I mean, holy crap. It's really cool. The technology today is off the charts. So I'm really excited about this. I'll tell you more about it once it's up and operating, hopefully.
I can't wait. And I want to add, since you can hear me now, what you were saying earlier about the Warriors defense or about defense in general, protecting the perimeter, preventing 3-point shots from being attempted cleanly. That's an issue that the Warriors have been facing for at least this year. That was a concern.
But that's only because of your defensive philosophy. I'm telling you, for decades and decades and decades, the whole philosophy is don't let the team get to the basket. Make them beat you from the perimeter. Well, now not only can they beat you, they destroy you from the perimeter.
Yes, sir.
And so you have to take away their greatest weapon. And you don't win championships. You're not going to win championships if you don't have great 3-point shooters or shooting. You look at Boston. Boston lived and died with it. They died with it. When they shoot it badly, they're a very vulnerable team. You have to have both working for you. But that's what happened. Oklahoma City lost the first game because they didn't make a 3-point shot in the fourth quarter in the finals. They didn't make one. And so Why would you give guys open I'm saying don't ever give them outside shots. Switch everything. Get up on the guy. And even sometimes a bigger guy is a mismatch to the smaller guy. Well, that guy's going to get his 3-point shot off because he's so worried about him beating him and looking bad, right? Hey, let him beat you. If he beats you, he can still challenge and stuff. You're only giving up 2 points, not 3.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where, like, you're absolutely right. It is a philosophy. The Warriors defense, we haven't talked since the playoffs ended. I've been losing my mind when it comes to the Warriors D and let's bring this up before you go, please, since you can hear me well. They overhelp a lot, way too much. Like players are getting beat defensively in terms of not being able to stay in front of their man. And Podziemski sadly was a huge victim of this. And I don't know if the help defense is because of the philosophy. I don't know if it's because they're seeing their teammates and an inability to stay in front of the player they're assigned to defend. But the overhelp, I thought, killed the team, on top of players like Draymond Green just letting players shoot wide open threes, because this is where I think age has caught up to Draymond a little bit. You sometimes see him giving up and just allowing these wide open threes. And I don't know, and maybe it's not age, maybe it's philosophy, but those are the two things defensively for the Warriors that was making me go crazy. Stop overhelping. Sometimes an individual just needs to handle their assignment and defend the three, defend the perimeter. You have adapted, sir. I can't. My respect for you just keeps growing, because I'm glad you see the game for what it has turned into versus what it was. That 3-point line has to be defended rigorously.
It has to be defended. It's such a critical element to the game now. And okay, so you screwed up and they wound up getting a 2-point. Well, the guy's not going to make all of them. And maybe a guy, especially if it's a bigger guy, he may be able to get up and make him change the shot a little bit, whatever. But the worst thing is they only get 2 points, especially if you got a 15-point lead or something. That 3 points, 2 3-pointers, all of a sudden, that 15-point lead is down to single digits.
Exactly.
Psychologically, that's a huge freaking factor.
Exactly.
Whereas if they made 2 2-pointers, you still got an 11-point lead.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, but the difference between a double-digit lead and a single-digit lead is enormous in this game. And that's how Indiana got back in the fourth quarter. They made 4. They went on a 12-2 run early in the fourth quarter, 12-2, and every one was a 3-point shot. And the thing is, one of them was contested, but here's the deal. They didn't defend properly. And if a guy's open and you're going out to do it, you do what's called closeout. You don't just run and jump in the air and do something. And what happened, the big guy from Indiana, he did, and he sidestepped the guy, made the bank shot. Big 3-point shot, right? Maybe a lucky guy.
Yeah, Miles Turner did that. Yes, correct, in game 1.
Right. So, but I'm saying that if the defender had played proper defense and closed out and shuffled up, he wouldn't have shot. He would have prevented that 3-point shot. That turned out to be a big factor in the game.
You're absolutely right. You can't be overly aggressive, because the pump fake will completely neutralize what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
100% agree with you there. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because I agree with you. I think that's an issue. And the Warriors were sadly guilty of those failed.
I admire the fact that they were hustling and trying to go, and then they go and the guy has the ball in the post, and they come and they go and they double team because this guy's a tough player. Yeah, well, you double team, but you left the 3-point shooter wide open. And fortunately, and the other guy makes the good pass, they get a wide open 3-point look. No. If you're going to do that, the defender who comes there has to be the guy that's a shitty 3-point shooter that you leave. You don't leave a good 3-point shooter ever.
You're absolutely right. And Joe Schmo is absolutely right. If you were playing today, you'd be a $60 million a year player. I know you don't like to be reminded of that. That was actually cruel in hindsight. I'm sorry but he's right. He's right.
I know that. That's why it's hard for me to believe that if I was 30 years old, that I'd have a 5-year guaranteed contract for over $300 million to play basketball. You would easily. It's mind-numbing to me. It's just mind-numbing. But
I want to give a couple people in the chat some credit, because I do feel like the pragmatic, practical approach to the Warriors offseason, if they want to consider it a success, bring DeAnthony Melton back on the cheap. If you can get Brook Lopez and bring the rest of this team back, I think you're fine. I actually would be very happy with that. I don't know if Brandon Podziemski should keep playing 35 minutes. Armando Lara brought that up earlier. A little misuse of minutes there, but if the Warriors can bring those two pieces back, I like this. I like what I see. That's just me. I don't know. Rick, any final thoughts from you, sir?
No, I just hope that they do make the right moves, that everybody stays healthy. They're going to be competitive. They play a brand of basketball that to me, is a fun brand of basketball to watch. When they do it, they have, like most everybody else, they have a tendency to sometimes be their own worst enemy. Don't turn the damn ball over so much. I mean, even that other game, Indiana turned the ball over like 20 times and they won the game. I mean, oh my God, you got to you have to capitalize on that. Teams making those kind of mistakes, you got to be able to capitalize and make them pay a price for doing that. But
well, I'm glad you brought that stat up, Rick, because you're right. The Pacers turned the ball over an egregious amount of times in game one, and I think it was 25.
At one point it was 20. Yeah, I know.
For 20. And they won.
It was crazy. They won.
And they won. You know that the last team to have more turnovers than that in the NBA Finals and win were the Warriors. I can't remember if it was 2017 or 15, but one of those teams did the same thing.
And you know why? But you know why? They made 3-point shots.
Yes, yeah. There you go.
And this is what happened. The Pacers had all those turnovers, but they made a lot of 3-point shots, especially in the fourth quarter, and Oklahoma City didn't.
Yep, there you go.
It's not very hard to figure this out.
There you go.
Nobody even talked about the fact that the Oklahoma City didn't make a 3-point shot in the fourth quarter. That was the major reason they lost.
Well, there you go. You're saying it now.
And they gave up 6 or 7 3-point shots. So they got crucified in that area. So you're not going to win NBA basketball games when a team outscores you from 3-point range by a substantial number. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
anyway,
Rick,
listen, I wish everybody a great summer.
Yeah,
it'd be fun to see what happens the rest of the
What are your plans? You're in Colorado now, but are you traveling? Are you chilling? Are you playing pickleball?
No, I'm not coaching the Big Three. They cut it back to 8, and so I'm not going to be coaching there. I might get to do a game one time for them as an analyst or something. I don't know. We'll see. But I got other things I'm doing. I'm going to go down and be in Vegas, and the retired players have our convention down there, and we'll do that during summer league. So I'll be down there a little bit, and I got other things to do, appearances to make that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was coaching. So my life, everything in life, trust me, I've been around a lot longer than most of you. Everything in life happens for a reason. And so just accept what it is. If it makes you sad, cry and get over it and move on. But eventually, you might not get the answer initially, but eventually the answer will come to you as to why something happened. Something down the road is going to take place that had this other thing not happen, this new thing wouldn't have happened. And so that's just the way life works. And so I'm a big believer that, okay, I'm not coaching what I like to. Yeah, it was great. I had great fun, great seeing the guys there. I hated the fact that my team was losing. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't pick my own players. But other than that, it was great fun seeing Dr. J and Gary Payton and a bunch of the other guys, George Gervin. It was awesome. And so there's something else that's going to happen. It already had a couple of things happen that I wouldn't have been able to do if it weren't for the fact I wasn't coaching. And so something else is going to happen, and I'll make the most of it.
Yes, sir. What are your thoughts? I'm hearing some pushback lately from some tennis folks regarding pickleball. Like there seems to be like a bit of resentment from the tennis crowd that pickleball has become so popular that they're resorting to criticizing the sound a pickleball paddle makes when it hits the ball and little things like that.
Okay,
what's your
take? If that's the case, let me get into that. If that's the case, then how about getting sick and tired of listening to a guy grunt every time he hits the ball? Okay, that's far more annoying to me than the sound of a pickleball hitting the paddle, the ball hitting the freaking paddle. And here's the deal. It's not going away anytime soon.
No.
It's growing incredibly on an international basis. There's never been a sport grow as fast as this sport has grown.
Yeah.
And the smart ones are making the right move. Andre Agassi has his own pickleball paddle now. He's gotten into pickleball. It's like a whole new career and opportunity for him to do things. And a lot of other pros are starting to do that as well. And it's never going to be what tennis is because tennis has such a history going back so long. And it's a totally different sport, but it's so much fun and so much easier to learn how to play. It's such a difficult sport to learn how to play and play well. And you have to be a terrific athlete to play tennis well. You don't to play pickleball.
Exactly. It's fun.
You might not be one of the top pickleball players, but you can play at a level that's fun to play, good time, social, whatever. It's not going away. And where the tennis players are all upset is because even in the parks here in Colorado Springs and two of the biggest parks here, they've been pulling out the tennis courts and putting in pickleball courts.
Correct. I think that's the primary gist of why they're so pissed off. They're losing their courts and they're going, why? It's so trivial in the big scheme of
Well,
things.
even now, the top pickleball players, because of what's going on, are making millions of dollars, not on a full straight salary, but endorsements and all the other stuff.
Right.
And so it's awesome. I mean, I'm really immersed in it now. That's why I'm doing stuff with Titan Pickleball. Ken Tran used to have the Takea water bottles, the insulated water bottles. He sold that out and started to get into this pickleball. But he's allowing me, and I was with some other really good companies. Loved the fact that they gave me product and great products and stuff. But this guy has a super great product as well, but I'm getting to be involved. I like marketing. I like being a part of it. I like to help promote it. And so I have a chance to do that with this company as opposed to the other companies. And so I want to do what's going to be more fun for me to do. And the paddle is great. I mean, I've already won, I've already won national championships playing with their paddle.
Beautiful. Yeah, you are a national champion. Are you the reigning champion of your
Yeah,
your
I'm
group?
actually I'm probably one of the top rated players in the world at my age and skill. In
That's
fact,
awesome.
actually in the US Open, there wasn't anybody at my age and skill level to play.
That is awesome. That is phenomenal. Good stuff. And keep up the great work. I have a question I'm saving for the next time you're on the show, going back to your playing days. But for now, follow Rick Barry on all of his social media platforms. Same handle, Rick24 Barry, the 24 representing the number that hangs from the rafters of Chase Center, representing
let's
your
talk
retired.
again. Let's talk again after they played a few more games here before, or either that or after it's over with. So we'll have a chance to do that again.
You mean after the NBA Finals, correct?
Yeah, during the thing. I mean, if after a few more games go, if they see what happens, but we'll talk if nothing else, after the last game or whatever.
Let's do it. Yeah.
We should definitely talk one more time about it. And
Of course. Yeah. Well, this show never goes away. Just maybe it might slow down a little bit, but no, we're here all summer. Right. And when the offseason officially kicks off, Rick, it's going to be exciting. I think we're going to see a lot of player movement and teams changing uniforms, and it's going to be a lot of excitement in terms of where yeah.
Well, hey, the big three is still alive. They've cut it down. It should be exciting. They got a lot of new players that have come in to play. A lot of younger guys are coming in to join and participate. And I think it's going to be extremely competitive. They've been around. This is the 8th year. I mean, it's pretty amazing that they've been able to get through and get to the 8th year. But I'm looking forward to seeing how competitive this season is, because the quality of players has improved. I'm kind of surprised. And I guess it's because if you love something, it's hard to give it up. And even though these guys have made a lot of money in doing stuff, they're not doing it for the money. They just love playing. They miss not getting to play. And so that's great. That's great for the league that, these guys still have that passion and want to get out there and compete. And I'm telling you, you got to be ready to compete, because this is not some little boys game out there that they're playing in 3x3. Let me tell you that.
Are you following the WNBA? Because the Valkyries are playing some great basketball.
I saw their great game the other day. They were 2. They won the game that they won when they blew out a really good team. The
Aces,
they played well the other day. I got a chance to see that, so that's kind of cool. I don't know what kind of crowds are they drawing there. I didn't see
sellouts. Yeah, they're it's filling up. I don't know what the TV ratings are, and something tells me that's more important, but the energy, the passion, the interest is very much there. I don't think they're ever going to not have a sellout. It's great to see, Rick. I personally think
that's
so.
Awesome. I mean, because my wife was an important part of the WNBA getting started. She was the special advisor to Val Ackerman, who was the president. Not that David Stern didn't want to have somebody else be a commissioner, so she was given the title of president of the WNBA. And my wife was a special advisor for them and helped them get started and worked there for the first 5 years. She knew more about women's basketball than everybody in the NBA combined, because they just didn't have a lot of people there that knew it, because she ran USA Basketball for the United States for 12 years. So she helped them get foreign players. She helped them set up their first training camp. She did a lot of things with them when they were doing off-season promotional and clinics and things of that nature. Because my wife was an All-American basketball player at William & Mary, only woman to have her jersey retired. And she was very instrumental in helping the WNBA get started. And so I've watched it from its inception, and it's tremendous to see where it's come from the standpoint. I mean, now women are all pulling up, taking jump shots. They didn't do that back in the old days. Nobody was shooting jump shots. They're learning how to use their body a little bit more, because they used to try to avoid contact, and now they're using their body, and it's getting a little more physical. And then you're getting some of the ladies who are really becoming incredibly athletic, and you're actually seeing some dunks every once in a while. But dunks are not what if you can jump, you can dunk. It's not like it's a great skill. Okay, if you can jump, you can dunk. I mean, it's the other skills that are important. And I like the way that they play, and I like the way the women get after it. And Caitlin Clark has been the best thing that's happened to the WNBA.
Oh,
If I were the commissioner when she first came into the league, I would have fined every player that took cheap shots at her, which they were doing, which is such bullshit. I mean, she is so helpful. She's going to help everybody make more money. She's been so instrumental and has such a following. When she goes to play on the road, they're selling the arenas out. In fact, I saw a stat the other day. Caitlin Clark, 500% increase in selling of merchandise for the Fever, right? The franchise was worth $89 million. It's worth 300 and something million, or 500 and something million dollars now.
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible how much one person can affect the value of a franchise. Case in point, the Cleveland Cavaliers, when LeBron was there the first time, or maybe the second time, it was only 2 times, right? The second time, you saw whatever it is, their value when LeBron was there was top 5 in the NBA. When LeBron's not on the team, it's like something in the 20s. It's incredible. And Caitlin Clark, you're absolutely right, is the ultimate ambassador for the WNBA. The Valkyries are killing it. Props to them. So they're and every Monday at 3 p.m. we do V for Valkyries, and once a week we try to get Rick Barry on the show for the Rick Barry Show, which is always such a pleasure to have you on, sir. And Raider Tupac in the chat writing something that may come off as a bit disrespectful until you understand what the number 24 means to you, sir. Why do you wear the number 24?
Willie Mays was I was a baseball kid. I was a better baseball player in high school, and that's what was my sport. And my father was a semi-pro player and coach in basketball, but was also a great fast pitch softball player. And so he taught me about catching and playing. And Willie Mays was a rookie, and he did the basket catch, the only guy doing it. That's the way my father taught me how to catch fly balls. And so I said, well, there's my guy. And I'm telling you, such a great role, as I told us many times. How incredible to grow up, have a sports hero like a Willie Mays, that later in life I become a personal friend of my boyhood sports hero and get invited to be one of the prime and the first speaker at his 80th birthday celebration at Bally's Hotel. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, I mean, I just pinch myself sometimes about how lucky I've been. I really have. Other than missing out on 3 zeros on my contract, I've had an amazing life.
No, you're blessed, sir, and I'm blessed to have you join us. And so is the audience.
I got to run because it's going to start to get dark. The sun's behind the cloud. This is behind. We're done. But I have to go in and get a bike ride in. I got to burn some calories, even though I already worked out earlier today. I've got to go and I got to go get a workout in and go ride.
Enjoy the beauty of Colorado. It is night and day from Florida, and that is where you are now. Enjoy your bike ride. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you to everyone. We are out. Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye-bye.